Welcome to another Messianic Moments. Today I'd like to talk to you about how the Gentiles were grafted into Judaism, part 3. So if you haven't watched parts 1 and 2, please do so before you get to this third part. There is a need for a second Council of Jerusalem. Unfortunately, the spirit behind the first Council of Jerusalem was lost along the way. According to Derek Prince, the greatest persecutors of the Jews have been professing Christians. It is the longest recorded hatred in the history of mankind. While the Messianic Jewish believers boldly welcomed Gentiles into the first century body of believers as an act of great courage and love, the church did not reciprocate. First century Messianic believers continue to be Torah observant Jews. Irenaeus, a second century Messianic leader taught by first generation student of the apostles, said they themselves continued in the ancient observances the apostles scrupulously acted in accordance with the dispensation of Mosaic law. The 4th century historian Athanasius said about Christ's 1st to 3rd century followers, they are mainly Jews and nothing else. They make use not only of the New Testament, but the Old Testament of the Jews. They do not forbid the books of the Torah, the writings, or the prophets. So they are approved by the Jews, from whom the Nazarenes do not differ in anything, except they believe in Yeshua as the Messiah. The point is that the early church was very Jewish. The scripture in both testaments was written by Jewish authors, and the original intent was there to be only one body, a Jewish body, comprised of Jewish and Gentile believers. Yeshua did not come to start a church. The Apostle Paul in Romans 11 depicts the God of Israel as the root of the body. Jewish believers as the natural branches, and Gentile believers are grafted in as wild branches into this olive tree. If the first piece of dough is holy, the lump is also. And if the root is holy, the branches are too. But if some of the branches were broken off, the unbelieving Jews, and you being wild olives were grafted in, the Gentiles, among them, and became partakers with them of the rich root of the olive tree, do not be arrogant toward the branches. But if you are arrogant, remember that it's not you who supports the root, but the root who supports you. You will say then, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. Quite right. They were broken off for their unbelief, but you stand by your faith. Do not be conceited, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, he will not spare you either. Behold then the kindness and severity of God to those who fell. Severity, but to you God's kindness. Continue in his kindness, otherwise you also will be cut off. And they also, if they do not continue in their unbelief, will be grafted back in, for God is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut off from what is by nature a wild olive tree, and were grafted contrary to nature into a cultivated olive tree, how much more will these who are the natural branches be grafted into their own olive tree? For I do not want you, brethren, to be uninformed of this mystery, so that you will not be wise in your own estimation, that a partial hardening has happened to Israel until the full measure of the Gentiles has come in. And so all Israel will be saved, just as is written, the deliverer will come from Zion. He will remove the ungodliness from Jacob. This is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. Romans 11:17 to 27. You see, Gentile Christians are grafted into a very Jewish family, a family where the Messiah, the patriarchs, the prophets, and the apostles reside. Why not embrace this marvelous heritage and be thankful for the blessing rather than trying to Judify the body of believers? When we reach heaven, what language do you think Yeshua will feel most comfortable speaking? What customs will be second nature to him? Remember, he is and always will be a Jew. And God, in his love for mankind, brought the Gentiles into this incredible family of believers. This has been another Messianic moment. Until next time, God bless. Shalom, shalom.
I'll take flight to the house of the risen sun. House of the risen